guys, welcome to Check Your Leader TV today. This would probably be better as an audio kind of podcast thing rather than a video. But hey, I'm a YouTube channel, so it's going to be a video podcast. But you could probably listen in on this one, just doing some painting. What I'm doing at the moment is I'm just flocking bases of some piano war games, Württemberg light infantry. These guys were painted by Dan Dunbar, chap that I served with, a friend of mine. And so these are 3D printed miniatures, and Dan's painted them up for me, and I'm now just in the process of basing and flocking them. So there's Württemberg infantry, there's some Saxon, these are Black Hussar and Kalp. I've got a single base of Russian Jaegers that I put some tufts on, but I forgot to put the static grass, and he doesn't blend in well with the rest of his skirmishing buddies. I've got to do him. And then, of course, some Perry Belgian cavalry for the 100 Days campaign. These are a mix of Perry Metal Belgian cavalry. One's lost his tail. I'll have to green stuff one in or find one from somewhere. Painted these years ago, actually, and I've only just got around to basing them. So they're Dutch Belgian cavalry. But what I did is I didn't have enough for a single regiment, so I then used the Perry heavy cavalry plastic box set, and I've knocked up some. I've taken some carabiniers, and I've painted them up as Dutch Belgian carabiniers. So that's what I'm about today. Just basing. Oh, there's a few others. There's a National Guard, French National Guard unit there. Some Netherlands light infantry skirmishers that I'm, well, they're actually line infantry, but in skirmish formation. So I'm just going to do that, and whilst I'm doing that, I'll give you a bit of a heads up with what's transpired over the recent Australia Day long weekend, where I went to CanCon, and whilst there, I played in the large zone. Just went and got myself an ice cold liquid beverage. Got myself a Pepsi Max. Right. So, what transpired? What did we get up to? Well, departed my home here in Bendigo on the Friday. Drove up to Canberra via Wagga Wagga to pick up a family friend. She needed a lift, and it was about a 7-hour drive all up, but like I said, I had company for half the way, so that was nice. Checked in at the Pavilion on Northbourne in Canberra. It's a nice hotel. Saturday morning, bright and early, nice breakfast, headed over to CanCon, and which is held at the Epic. It's like a conventions, just a big place where you can have all sorts of conventions and whatnot there in Canberra. And first up, I played a game of O Group, which I hadn't played in ages. And the scenario was based on German, Luftwaffe and Hungarian troops trying to hold back a mechanized Russian advanced guard, for want of a better description. They were predominantly, the Russians had some T-34s and some heavy assault guns, Cossack recon elements. So it was interesting forces, and the enemy were Luftwaffe personnel. I they might have even been from the Hungarian division, I don't know, and some Hungarians, and they had to hold out in this area, waiting for support to arrive from the SS Viking division. So we played that. I forgot what a great, well, I haven't forgotten. I guess I had. It has slipped my mind on about what a fantastic rule system O Group is, and I definitely have to play more of it, and I will be. We played from about 9:30 until about midday. A good scenario. Hopefully, it'll be available on one of the Lardy pages for people to get a hold of and download. I think I'll probably butcher this chap's name. I think his name was Ben Fines. I'll find out. But Ben put on. I think his name was Ben. Jeez, I'm terrible with names. The reason why I'm terrible with names is I've been rattled a bit, and so that's my excuse anyway. And so I never forget a face, but I'm terrible with names. But anyway, the game was put on, and it was fantastic. Really good game. O Group, if you haven't played it, I really recommend you give it a go. If World War II company level or battle group level combat's your thing, I don't think you can go much wrong with O Group. It really is a fantastic set of rules. If you look at my playlist, you'll see I've got a few videos on O Group. In particular, I have a playthrough of the rules where I very deliberately go stage by stage, step by step through the game. So we played that, and that was a good result. It was a mutual kind of destruction, so I guess you'd call it a draw. But that was a lot of fun. Had lunch. On Saturday afternoon, I'm playing Chain of Command version 2, and it was a scenario called a Slouch Hat on D-Day. I think Peter Bismar might have come up with a scenario, but fortunately, and this is probably the highlight of the weekend, Richard Clark ran the game. And what a hoot it was. I had a hell of a lot of fun with it. Now, I've not been privy to the machinations and going-ons updating Chain of Command to version 2. So that was my first insight into it. And I know there's been some discussion on the Tifat Lardy's forum, but I've had all manner of problems getting on that forum to contribute anything. Passwords getting changed, all sorts of things. So as a consequence of that, I've not been on the forum much at all, because if I go on forums, I like to contribute, and it's hard to contribute when you can't sign in. So, but apparently there's been some discussion on the forums about, you know, the changes from version 1 to version 2. The first thing I'll say is, as far as I'm concerned, it's what I've seen so far. It's been improved, and just like GDA, how GDA, General D'Armée, went from version 1 to version 2. Initially, I was very skeptical. I'm a big believer in if you've got something working well, don't mess with it. You'll never get something working at 100% perfect. The best you can ever hope to get anything working at is about 95%. That's not my theory. That's a scientific theory. Because you'll never obtain perfection, but you can get close. And I thought GDA was close, and then when GDA 2 came out, I realized, oh no, it's this is much better. And what I've concluded with with Chain of Command is the same thing has happened here. And I think the reason for that is the changes that have come about slowly and methodically, and as a consequence of that, they're small tinkering they're changes that have been, well, basically they're tinkering at the edges. There's not massive wholesale rewriting of rules or anything like that. It's just a little bit of a tinker here and a little bit of a tinker there, a fine tune here and a fine tune there, and essentially what you have is it's pretty good. I am really excited about Chain of Command version 2. No rule system is perfect, but I think Richard Clark and whoever else has been contributing to the improvements have done a great job. What are those improvements? Well, the ones that I saw are essentially now with your Chain of Command dice, Chain of Command points, you can cash in points before you achieve a Chain of Command die. So for those that aren't aware, in Chain of Command, you roll dice to activate, to create the command rigger that allows you to activate your troops. And then, so 1, 2, 3, or 4 on a die that you roll, they give you options to activate certain teams, squads, vehicles, leaders, and the like. And if you roll a 5, you get a Chain of Command point, and then 6s are a phasing dice. But the 5, the Chain of Command points, ultimately what you want to do is once you've collected 6 of them, you've got a Chain of Command dice, or die, if you're going to be correct, Chain of Command die. And that Chain of Command die permits you to do all sorts of funky things like launch ambushes, or move deployment points, or avoid doing morale tests, or ending the turn, so removing enemy smoke screens and things like that. So rubbish is getting collected. So now what you can do is, as you're accumulating your Chain of Command points, you can go, you know what, as much as I want a Chain of Command dice, I now have 3 Chain of Command points, and instead I'm going to spend those 3 Chain of Command points to do something that might not be quite as dramatic as what I might get with a Chain of Command die, but it's something I really want to do now. Like I might have troops that are caught in the open and I want them to go to ground to seek cover. Or I might need to move a deployment point, or what they call a jump off point. So it's little things like that. It just makes things a little bit more interactive. Green troops have been toughened up a little bit, which I'm really glad to see, because I thought they were just too fragile in Chain of Command, the original version. So essentially, what's happened is just that they, as long as they're well handled and well commanded, in other words, you keep the shock off them, so you keep rallying them. As long as they're kept well in hand, green troops will perform quite well. But once they accumulate some shock, then they don't perform as well. And I think that's a really good improvement. It's that alone, I think, is worth getting the new version. Now, there were some things I wanted to find out about, and I didn't. I wanted to know how, have engineers been altered in the rules? Have what changes have been made in regards to artillery, off-table artillery, and off-table mortars and things like that. And I was too busy enjoying myself to ask what the story was there. So I guess I'm just going to have to wait until the rules come out. I think version 2 will be released sometime around Easter. Keep an eye on whenever Salute is on in the UK. I suspect that's they're aiming for there, because obviously a big convention like Salute, that would be good if you could, if you could release your new rules there, put on some participation or demo games and have people play. They could play and then buy the rules. So I suspect they're going to aim for Salute, but Richard Clark has stated that they'll be released when they're ready, which is a wise way of doing things, I think. So that was Saturday afternoon. It was a great game. Myself and another chap, we played as the Osttruppen, so Russian prisoners of war fighting for the Germans and fighting against a platoon from the Green Howards. Why slouch out on D-Day? Apparently an Australian Army officer, an Australian Army major, who was basically sitting around in London, thought, I'd much rather be involved, and ended up going ashore with the Green Howards on D-Days. And so there you go. I didn't know we had any soldiers involved in the D-Day landings at all. We were too busy spanking the Japanese. But yeah, apparently there was a major flying the flag for us over there. So that is what we did on Saturday afternoon. Saturday night, we had a dinner in honor of Richard Clark, which was nice. And I figured, if someone's going to come all the way from the UK to help with our CanCon, at least I can do is dress nice. So we went and had dinner at a local club. It was a nice meal, nice company, great time, and that was Saturday done. And then Sunday comes around, and on Sunday I played 2 games of General d'Armée, and with a slight twist in 10mm, which was really nice. So there were 2 games. They were kind of like linked campaign games. So the idea was 4 games were played over the weekend. They were all revolved around the Marengo campaign of 1800. And in both games, I played as the Austrians, and the guys I played with were Daryl in the first game and then Liam in the second. Both were real novices to the rules, and so essentially I basically helped out with explaining how the rules. I didn't think I did a very good job in the first game because I think I played a bit too quick for Daryl. We'd roll out our initiative dice and for our ADCs, and I'd just go bang, 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 task these individuals there and then crack on. I just forgot the fact that the guy I was playing alongside wasn't as well versed on the rules as I was. But I think ultimately, everyone who played got a lot out of it. I know the second time I played the game, a different scenario, and I had this fellow called Liam playing along. He was completely new to wargaming, and I didn't know him like I knew Daryl. So essentially, as a consequence of that, I became a lot more deliberate in what I was doing. Because I knew that the fellow I was playing with was a novice, like a complete novice. He explained that he'd played no war games whatsoever, but he loved it, and I think everyone that was involved on the day walked away going, "Geez, GTA 2 is a great set of rules," and so that was a lot of fun. So we did that on Sunday, and then I could have hung around for the Monday, but my wife flew in that night she came in from Sydney by train with my little girl, and we spent Sunday night in Canberra as a family, and then my wife had to fly out to Darwin on Sunday morning back to her military unit, and I decided, well, I got the little one in tow, and as much as she's a good kid, having her sit around while I went and looked at various things at CanCon was probably not going to be particularly entertaining for her. So took the opportunity to head home early from CanCon for a change and get back home. So that was CanCon. That's my views on Chain of Command version 2, or what I've seen of it. And what I've seen of it says it's well worth investing in when it comes out. It's an improvement on version 1, which is that's what you want. You want an improved version, not just a rehash. So that was CanCon. That was Chain of Command version 2, General d'Armée and O Group. Okay, so what else have I got to report? Nothing else, I don't think. There's really nothing else I really got to share at this point. Going forward, my plan is to finish off this big base. I've got a couple of games of Midgard that I want to play, and then share my rules review on Midgard. So I want to be doing that. The other thing is Stephen from Basement 1908, which is another YouTube channel for miniature wargaming enthusiasts, has got in touch with me, and we've been talking about doing a collaborative project. He's currently playing a 100 days type campaign. It's based on the 100 days. It's set 1815, but it is not how can I put this? It doesn't follow exactly what happened over the Waterloo campaign. It's a complete departure from that, in regards that the forces involved, we've got Austrians and Russians involved, as well as the French and the Prussians, the Dutch Belgians and the like. And the plan is that we'll play a series of games that are kind of like linked. So what he wants at this stage is for me to take command of a wing of the French army while he commands another wing of the French army, and then basically we fight out some battles against Prussians, Russians, Austrians, Brits, Dutch Belgians, and the like. So that's going to be really interesting. So I'm keen to be involved in that. Stephen seems like a really nice fella, and I'm a really nice fella. So what we'll do is we will have a bit of a chat, share some concepts on how we're going to go about it, and then in the not too distant future, probably around about March, April, something like that, we should be doing some videos on our channels that will sort of a cross-channel pollination of gaming scenarios and ideas. So that's really exciting. I'm really pumped about that. I highly recommend you check out his channel. He plays really large battles. I found his channel initially because he was sharing some GTA 2 games, so that obviously I was interested in that. He did a series of videos on Fire and Fury, I don't know if they were regimental, well, I think they're regimental Fire and Fury rules, but they could have been the original brigade level ones. And then at the moment, I think he's launching into some chain of command, but big chain of command battles, with an emphasis on tank platoons. Anyway, Basement 1908. That's the channel you want to go have a look at, and then and we'll get that going on. And then other than that, like I said, the only other thing is my friend Arno down in Melbourne. He's sort of like semi-retired now, and he asked if we could start playing some Chain of Command, which I'm more than happy to do. I went down to Melbourne recently. We played Scenario 1 from the Road to Bremen pint-sized campaign, which I think it's in one of the Lard magazines. Fantastic pint-sized campaign. And last time I've actually played it. I played it with Rowan. A couple of years back now. And you can find that pint-sized campaign on my channel in the playlist. And I've played as the Brits in that pint-sized campaign, and Rowan played as the Germans. I think the Germans won in the end. They inflicted absolutely unacceptable casualties, and that was that. But this time round, Arno wants to play the campaign, and he wants to be the Brits, and so that means I'll be the Germans. But we're going to be doing it in 20mm. Now, we've already played the first game, because initially I thought it was a case of he got in touch. He said, "Oh, I want to have a game." I said, "Oh, we'll play Chain of Command if that's what you want." Went down there, and just to make it easy, I went, "Oh, I'll just use the first scenario out of this pint-sized campaign." Well, long story short, he enjoyed it so much, he goes, "Oh, let's play the campaign." Now, if I'd known we were going to play it as a campaign, I probably would have withdrew my Germans much sooner than I did, because at one point I really had these Brits in the hurt locker, and I had virtually no casualties, and I thought, well, if I was playing the campaign, this would be the time to pull out. But I didn't realise that, so my platoon has suffered some pretty horrible casualties. That said, we're going to play it anyway, and we're going to play it in 20mm, because Arno, like he likes the Chain of Command. He thinks 20mm is the best scale, and I agree. So much so that I've sold off almost all of my 25mm World War II platoon-sized forces for Chain of Command, and instead I'm going completely with 20mm. That's why I don't know if they're in shot anymore over on the right-hand side over here, you see all these bare metal miniatures. They're actually all AV miniatures, 20mm early war Germans and early war Brits that I'm going to get painted up for Chain of Command. I just think for the ground scale that you have in Chain of Command, you can't, I don't think you can go past 20mm. The reason for that is Chain of Command, when it was initially written, way back when, was written, well, the ground scale is perfect for 15mm. And if I remember correctly, and I'm sure I do, when it was initially released, Two Fat Lardies actually were releasing platoon packs to go with their rules. So they had 20mm, and they were doing these platoon packs in 20mm. 20mm is really, really good because you have a scale that is very, very close to the ground scale that the rules are designed to match. And at the same time, you get the nice eye candy that you lose, I think, at 15mm. And AB miniatures, when it comes to World War II, whether your scale be 6mm or 28mm. I don't think there are nicer miniatures than AB miniatures in 20mm. Now there are some other 20mm manufacturers, or 1/72 scale one. Simon Soldier's springs to mind in 20mm. They're really nice, and I will be getting some of them. I keep saying that, and I never get around to doing it, but I'm definitely going to be doing it shortly. And also, I think Early War Miniatures, which is I think Early War Miniatures is a Brit company. I particularly like AB because they're actually cast here in Australia. They are pricey. They're not the cheapest of miniatures you can get, but they are, as far as I'm concerned, the best. Yeah, 20mm is the go for me. Also, you have the advantage of there's ample armor models and guns and all that kind of stuff in 20mm. Especially the dragon armor. I mean, it's already painted and weathered and whatnot. You just take it out of the box and you can put it straight on the table. So that's convenient. So that's what I'm going with there. So I will be playing the Bremen pint-sized campaign again, this time as a German. I don't know if I will be recording it and then sharing it on the channel. I'd like to, but we've already missed the first battle, so that's something I need to consider. And the other thing, of course, is I'll be playing it with Arno, and it's very, very hit and miss when I can get together to play with Arno, because he's an hour and a half away. He's in Melbourne. We can only play when we do play, because he lives in a townhouse and he hasn't got a gaming room as such yet. We play at the League of Ancients, and that's a great venue for gaming and whatnot, but it is rather rowdy and loud. So we'll play by ear. And maybe I'll only get 1 or 2 games from the campaign videoed, and then I might be able to share them, but no promises. I'm not quite sure. Is there anything else worth sharing? Piano war games, 3D printed. I don't know how many of you guys are into 3D printing or printing your own miniatures and whatnot. I print a lot of my own miniatures now. The cost of postage is the main motivator. I don't mind spending X amount of dollars on miniatures, but when I then have to pay, I have to sell a kidney to have them posted to me, it kind of aggrieves me. Especially when there was a time when that wasn't the case. But anyway, here we are, and this is where we're at now. So I as a consequence, I print a lot of my own miniatures. No postage costs involved at all, and incredibly inexpensive once you get past the initial outlay for a 3D printer and the like. So for example, I can produce these guys, these miniatures, 28mm, and normally I would pay in Australian dollars, I have to pay at least $2.50, $2.80, so in some cases $3 a miniature. There are some miniatures, 28mm historical miniatures now, that people are charging $4 a miniature for. Well, I can produce them for 33 cents. So it's a no-brainer. Yeah, there's a little bit of mucking about 3D printing, but 3D printers are getting easier and easier to use all the time. The resins are getting better and better all the time, and it's a good skill to have, and it's a good skill that I can share with my children, because I think it's only a matter of time where a 3D printer in the house will be just as common as a microwave oven. So that's why I do 3D printing. And one, it's it's inexpensive. It can be a bit of fun producing them, and it's the future to a large degree. So that's why I do 3D printing. And the best 3D printable Napoleonic infantry that you can get, or cavalry, or any kind of like personalities, cavalry, artillery, and this kind of stuff, is Piano War Games. These miniatures are absolutely stunning. They're just as good. I'll restart. I'll just say this. The benchmark for me for 28mm Napoleonics are the Perrys. Perry miniatures are just fantastic. Well, Piano War Games I put them on par. I think they're of such similar quality. I don't really distinguish between the two. And they just seem to get better and better and better. The latest Kickstarter was part 2 of the 1809 Danube campaign, where the main focus, I think, was on the French Imperial Guard. So you get Guard Grenadiers, Guard Chasseurs, and Young Guard. Also included French Cuirassiers, French infantry in greatcoats, a multi-part set where you've got torsos wearing greatcoats, separate types of heads with separate types of hats, and then they could either be in march attack or at the high port or whatever. And they're just fantastic. And the command groups, everything you want is there. Color bearers or standard bearers or flag bearers, what do you want to call them? Musicians, officers, pioneers, sergeants, sappers with axes and the like, mounted officers. You get aide-de-camps, you get personalities, casualty figures. So if you're playing GDA 2, everything's there. Your ADCs, your casualties for keeping track of casualties on your units. You get brigade, you get mounted regimental officers, mounted brigade commanders, and then of course you get guys like Lans, Oudinot, Messina, LaSalle. That's just the French guys, Archduke Charles, Austrian generals. Where you can get in, and then there's all the different other Kickstarters, the Württemberg ones. So there's Württemberg troops available at the moment are French 1809, Bavarians, Württembergers, Austrians, Würzburg, Hesse-Darmstadt, Tyrolean rebels, so basically armed and angry civilians. There's domesticated animals, weapons packs. There's so much to choose from. So and Lucas, the guy who does the sculpting, designing, and sells the miniatures, Lucas is now working on some Baden troops, which is ideal because I'm looking at the 1809. The 1813 Vittoria campaign for the Peninsula, and the one thing I'm missing is Baden troops. So I'll be able to get some Badner infantry, which is awesome. So if you're into 3D printing, check out Piano Wargames. If you're not into 3D printing, check out Piano Wargames, because they also produce metals. So everything that you can get, well, I don't know if you can get everything, but the vast majority of the things that you can get in STLs, so files for you to download and then print at home, they will cast in metal for you, and so you can purchase them in metal from Germany. So there's that to consider. So I think I pretty much covered everything in this video that I wanted to cover. We've covered CanCon, we've touched on Chain of Command version 2. We've talked about the future plans for playing a linked style General d'Armée campaign with Steve over at Basement 1908, and we've talked about Piano Wargames. So that's it for this video. If you've got any comments or anything, you let me know. Oh, one last thing. I saw a comment from someone on one of my videos where it was something along the lines of, I really like to have narrative battle reports, and I'm not too interested in every dice roll. I'd much rather see videos where you just basically talk about what happened and just share the video, as opposed to sharing every single dice roll. I get that. Quite often I think to myself, I think that's a better way of doing it. But I also think some people like to see every dice roll. So with that in mind, if you've got a particular view on that, one way or the other, let us know. And what I will do is I'll endeavour to make sure my videos, my battle reports, reflect what you guys would like to see. It would certainly mean the videos would be much easier to produce if I wasn't filming every dice roll. I get the feeling sometimes that I need to show every dice roll just so you know I'm not dodging something up and just going, oh yeah, we fought this scenario, this skirmish over here and we won. Well, how close was it? It's not important. So that's why I put in, generally speaking, the videos shows every interaction where dice were involved. But I'm wondering if it would be better just to say we fought this over here, we were successful. It was we were victorious over here. This unit's all badly knocked up. And they just keep pushing on, or if you guys want to see every dice roll, or it might be a case of I really only want to see the critical ones. Anyway, that's that. The gardeners are arrived. I can hear them mowing away outside. I need to go have a chat with them about a couple of things. So I will just finish flocking this Prince Anton Regiment, Kingdom of Saxony 1811 command base with their GBM flag, grey and black miniatures, GBM. And I will catch you on the next one. Next video will probably be something like a Midgard battle report or a Midgard review, or maybe even some Chain of Command or Ogre or GDA 2, who knows. Anyway, see you on the next one. Ubiquay.